everyone. It is Misha Green. I am honored to be talking to someone who does exactly what we need for the community and has written 10 books in order to spread the good word and the good cheer. It is the wonderful, legendary, amazing author, Lolo Smith. I am super excited to be talking to her. She has been writing socially relevant books that as we said offline a few moments ago, is exactly what we need. And so I'm really excited to be speaking to her today. But you guys know the drill. We can't do anything before we share the stream, because y'all know what I like to say, sharing is caring. I see that a few of you all are already in. But before we start our conversation, Lolo, do you mind if I share the stream for 2 seconds?
No, go right ahead.
All righty. There we go. All righty. And guys, remember, you do the same. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. There we go. Okay. And we are good. Let me make sure. Yes. And we are good to go and all posted. So first of all, before we even get into the nitty gritty of life and all of the busy things that you've been doing in it, we are in the middle of a pandemic still. There's a lot going on. This election's not over. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Well, I feel great right now because I think Biden is gonna win.
I think so too. I see you rocking your hints of blue.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm curious because someone like yourself who's a storyteller, when we're in a place like this, do you immediately pick up a pen and paper or your laptop and get to typing? How do you deal with where we are in the world artistically and creatively?
Because I write children's books, which are very short, the ideas just pop into my head and I write a whole book in my head and then get on the laptop. Like I have a niece that's 12 years old, and she asked me back in the spring, was I going to get COVID and maybe die? And she said, because you're so old. And that's what's happening to old people.
Oh,
So that's how her asking me that question was what prompted me to write this book about for children about COVID-19.
wow. Wow. And it's called Community Workers in COVID-19. And I know you said it's going to be sort of a resource for families looking to keep their children engaged right now. But also, it seems like it's educational. Can you tell us about sort of what's in the book and why families can use such a book as your newest, talking about the COVID-19 pandemic?
I wanted to present information about COVID-19 in a very gentle way to young readers, but I wanted them to understand what they could do to prevent the spread. And I wanted them to understand why they are no longer attending school.
Yeah.
So the story teaches them that they're supposed to wash their hands when they go out in public. They're supposed to wear their mask, and they're supposed to stay 6 feet apart from people. But it's told in a story about the essential workers in a little town. So it tells a story about these essential workers
Wow.
or our community workers. Which way can I show it? Okay.
Oh, it's
So
beautiful.
those are the workers in the town.
Ah, and who are these models that you got to serve as these essential workers?
Oh, I'm so glad you noticed that. Um, when I was a teacher, I noted that there were so few books with people of color. So I worked with a couple of professional modeling groups here in DC. One is called the Runway Cuties, and the other is called Mini Me Models.
Love it.
So we have professional models in the costumes of the community workers.
That's amazing. And it's so important that you mentioned representation and how much it matters, and giving these young people an opportunity not only to showcase their modeling skills, but also to see themselves represented in literature. I mean, that is amazing. So, what
Yeah.
first it is this most recent book, Community Workers and COVID-19, your 10th book? Your 10th children's book? Is this
No,
actually number
since I did this in the spring, I've done 2 more books for children. Uh,
Wow.
these are about dogs. So I have
Oh,
this
my
book,
favorite.
Max and Bo, Two Dogs on the Go. And this whole book is written in rhyme. Every page, there's a rhyme.
Ah,
And at the end of the book, I end the book with the 2 little dogs in masks because I don't know if everybody knows, but humans can transfer the coronavirus to their pets.
yes.
So you have to be careful even with your pets. And so that rhyme says Max and Bo are pictured in face masks since it's not too much to ask to help prevent COVID-19 and avoid being in quarantine.
I love it. Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
am so inspired by Max and Bo, Two Dogs on the Go. It's interesting because we've had a lot of conversations about the fact that you want to introduce particularly children of color to animals and things like that, and to show that you don't have to be afraid of them. But and so this seems again like it's such a good way, but it also teaches responsibility and how you treat your pets, it sounds like, and making sure you make good choices. When you taught, was that the reason that inspired you to become a children's author, or was it you found time on your hands and decided you wanted to do it? What was the original inspiration?
It was when I was teaching second grade, I asked my second graders to bring in a book from home. And one little girl brought in the Yellow Pages. And she said that was the only book that her family had. So I decided that I was going to create a book with my little second graders. It was what we call a mammy made book.
Mhm.
Jump ahead years, decades later,
Wow.
Amazon has a, what do you call, print on demand. They do print on demand publishing, and they make it very, very simple to publish books. It used to be called Create Space, but now it's called Kindle, under the Kindle, ebooks.
Yeah.
They Kindle now is a publishing platform, a print on demand publishing platform. They even give you the ISBN numbers for free, and you just upload your manuscript and your covers to kindle.com,
Oh my goodness.
and in a couple of days The book is available at Amazon.com.
I did
This
not
is,
know.
look at this. This is my 10th book for children.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. After I wrote Max and Bo, I said, oh, wow, these dogs are so cute.
Yes. What kind of dog is that?
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
who's doing the illustrations? I mean, even the illustrations are so captivating.
Um, I work with a graphic artist that
Love-
lives right here in Maryland.
That's amazing. Shout out to the DMV for all this talent. Wow. That is so amazing. And so, I want to take it back because again, I taught for a number of years, and and I actually on Thursdays still teach just for an hour, children 6 to 10. And reading, I know, is so important, particularly when many students are not in the classroom right now. But how can you get a parent who is having to worry about their house, also working from home, also having to pay their bills, to pick up 10 acts of kindness, or what kind of dog is that, and find a moment to read with their children?
In our community, it is very hard. It's very hard, especially if the child is going to a predominantly Black school. It's, but we we've established programs, and we take our programs into the schools.
Mhm.
And usually we personalize the same books that we have where we're using models. We go into the schools and we take photos of children,
Nice.
and we create a personalized version of these books with kids that are attending DC public schools.
Oh,
So the parents love seeing their kids in an actual storybook. And we actually call the program Living Storybook, because living children actually become the characters in storybooks.
that is amazing. That is so incredibly inspiring. And I know you said the parents love to see their children reflected. What is some of the feedback from the
Oh
kids?
my goodness, the kids. We had this one little girl, and her grandmother told me that she would not let that book out of her sight. She would sleep with it under her pillow at night. She would bring it to the breakfast table in the morning, and she would take it to school in her backpack every single day.
Oh,
She just loved being in that book. And we did we worked at Lincoln Heights. It's a low income housing development, and the DC Department of Housing purchased 300 copies of the book. So every household in that uh, housing development would receive a copy of the book. And this one little boy who was in the book, he just said to me one day, he said, I'm famous.
yeah.
I'm famous. Every time I come outside, somebody recognizes me for being in that book. He
That is
says, I'm
amazing.
famous.
He is famous. He
Yeah.
is famous. Oh, that is so inspiring. So, how can people support? How can people purchase your 10 really important stories for the community?
Well, I have my own author page at Amazon.com. Oh, there it is, Amazon.com/author/Lolo Smith. All 10 of my books are available on my author's page. And what
Wonderful.
I like about Amazon.com is you can write a review without buying the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I definitely know that we will be pushing this book. If there's any way that we can highlight it in any other way at the Afro, we would love to. But even more importantly, you have to come back when there's book number 11.
Okay. An idea popped into my head when
Well,
I was looking at the results of the election.
there's a lot that I could think we need. We tomorrow. This is a shameless plug. Check out our, or not tomorrow. I'm sorry. In 40 minutes, we have our show, The Chicken Box, and it is Black people versus the Electoral College. And we talked about the fact that so many adults don't even know what the Electoral College. And I remember this had to be third grade, so a little older than second grade. But the first time I ever learned anything about the Electoral College was when George Bush and Al Gore had their it was their election. It was the big back and forth between the mismatch of the Electoral College and the popular vote. And I just, I don't know how it was either third or fourth grade teacher had ended up explaining that to me, but she did. Gosh, no, I'm old. It was not third or fourth grade. It was probably like fourth or fifth grade, but still, anyway, going on. It was so funny thinking about how someone had to explain it to a 9 or 10-year-old, and think about it now. I would imagine that a children's book needs to be out about the Electoral College. So throwing it out there to Lolo Smith. Let me just shout out our viewers, since Paula Stone has said something. When you have time, please send contact info. Couldn't find you on Facebook. My Facebook school SLP groups would love your books. Great for preschool language development learning benchmark. Thank you, Paula Stone, so much for tuning in and for that comment. And Diza J. Gibson says, good day. Thank you so much again for tuning in, all those. Judge Wilbur Tremont says, how about a children's book about the Afro? Yeah, that would be great. 128 years of history. That would be amazing. The Afro would definitely love to help you out with that. So either way, I know that Lolo Smith is not done. Like she said, she already had an idea that popped in her head from watching all the election returns. So I'm excited to see what comes of that. But definitely, thanks to all those who have tuned in. We really, really, truly appreciate it. Make sure you go to amazon.com/author/Lolo Smith to pick up all 10 of her copies and keep up with what this wonderful author and educator is doing. We thank you so, so, so much. And just want to make sure that we can send your contact info to Paula Stone before we close off. So is there a way that she can get in contact with you, Lolo, through Amazon.com?
I don't know why that Amazon.com address isn't working, but I just sent her my contact information.
Okay, wonderful. So Paula, we'll send that to you in a private message with Lolo's email and phone number. Thank you again for your question and for tuning in. We thank all those for tuning in again. And thank you so much, Lolo, for the work you're doing. It's so important. It's really, really important. And as we all say, reading it is truly fundamental. But to see young Black children represented in these books and stories about people that look like them and that they see in their community and are doing amazing things, particularly in a time where we can't actually connect, to be able to connect through literature is such a great way. And so make sure you do it. Pick it up for your kids, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews. Christmas is coming up. This is a great way. And you can order it right on Amazon and just send it send it to that family member's household. But we really appreciate you again, Lolo Smith, for being here. And thank you to all of our viewers on the Afros Facebook, the Black Media Authority. Stay tuned for 12 o'clock for our show, The Chicken Box, Black People versus the Electoral College.
Okay, thank you so much.